turned over the totality of their document cache. Again, not willingly. It took years of inspections to pressure them. But the bottom line is, by 1995, there were no more weapons in Iraq. There were no more documents in Iraq. There was no more production capability in Iraq because we were monitoring the totality of Iraq's industrial infrastructure with the most technologically advanced, the most intrusive arms control regime in the history of arms control. And we knew that while we couldn't account for everything that the Iraqis said they had destroyed, we could only account for 90 to 95%. We knew that A, we had no evidence of a retained capability, and B, no evidence that Iraq was reconstituting. And furthermore, the CIA knew this. The British intelligence knew this. Israeli intelligence knew this. German intelligence, the whole world knew this. They weren't going to say that Iraq was disarmed, because nobody could say that. But they definitely knew that the Iraqi capability regarding WMD had been reduced to as near to zero as you could bring it, and that Iraq represented a threat to no one when it came to weapons of mass destruction.
Scott Ritter, a UN Chief Weapons Inspector in Iraq in 1991 and 1998, went back in 2002. He's speaking with Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Seymour Hersh. This is Democracy Now! We'll be back in a minute. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Our guest in studio is Scott Ritter. He was a top UN weapons inspector, was in Iraq in 1991, 1998, and now has written a book about his experiences called Iraq Confidential, the untold story of the intelligence conspiracy to undermine the UN and overthrow Saddam Hussein. Scott Ritter, you went back to Iraq in 2002. This is right before the invasion. Why, and what did you do there?
You know, we talked earlier about in 1998 how weapons inspectors left Iraq in the conditions they left. And this was an ideal circumstance for the U.S. government because, again, it wasn't about disarming Iraq. It was about maintaining economic sanctions as a vehicle of containing Saddam until you could overthrow him. So long as weapons inspectors weren't in Iraq, sanctions were never going to be lifted. Furthermore, the issue of disarmament would never be fully addressed. And there were people out there talking about a resurgence in Iraqi WMD capability, that Iraq had, since the inspectors had left, become a threat worthy of war. And by the summer of 2002, the fall of 2002, we were a nation clearly on the path towards war. And I had gone to Congress and tried to get the Senate Select Intelligence Committee, get the Senate about Iraq, where the facts could be put forth. And they refused to do so. And now, in September, Bush is going to meet with Blair in Crawford, Texas, and have this little war conference, and they're going to basically say it's time to take on Saddam. The only way that you could undo this, to back this up, was to get inspectors back in. But the Iraqis were putting so many conditions on the return of inspectors that it was just a debate that wasn't going to happen. I decided to intervene as a private citizen. And I first went to South Africa, where I met with Tarek Aziz. And said, this is what has to happen. I got to get into Iraq. You've got to turn on the TVs. I'm going to speak to your National Assembly. You will not edit my words. You will not know what I'm saying. You just got to trust me. I'm going to confront you, and I'm going to confront the world, and then I'll have meetings, and we need to get the inspectors back in. First he said, no, you're crazy. It's not going to happen. After 2 days of discussion, he said, okay, you got to go to Baghdad. I went to Baghdad. I spoke before the Iraqi National Assembly. People accused me of treason for speaking before this body, but if you listen to the words I said, I hold the Iraqis accountable for every crime they ever committed. I didn't give them a clean bill of health, and I warned them. I said, your nation is about to be invaded. Your nation is about to be destroyed, and you are looking at certain disaster in the face if you don't let inspectors back in without pre-commission. Having broadcast that, the Iraqi government had to deal with it, and that was the strategy. So now I met with the Vice President Tom Young, yes, he's on the ground. I met with Najib Saadi, I met with Aunty Rice, Mr. I met with Senator Elijah,